Hello. Today is day 31 of our 365-day Bible read. Today we're going to be reading from Exodus chapters 25 and 26, and then we're going to go on over to the New Testament to Matthew chapter 21, and we'll read verse 1 through 22, and we'll do the Bible study for Matthew 21, verse 1 through 22. And then tomorrow we'll finish up Matthew chapter 21 by reading verse 23 through 46. Um, I am following the year reading Bible schedule on it's from esv.org, and if you wanted to look on there, look ahead. I started from January 1st, so today's day 31. We're on January 31st on their schedule. I just started from January so that we could start from the beginning of the Old Testament and the beginning of the New Testament instead of starting in like the middle. If I would have started at like April's date for like when I started this 31 days ago. So yeah, so we're going to get started. I am in the basement. I should have brought a jacket down here. I washed my hair, so it's kind of still damp. I'm letting it air dry. So being in the basement too, it's like really cold down here. So maybe I can get through. But okay, here we go. Let's get started. Exodus chapter 25. Contributions for the sanctuary. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel that they take for me a contribution. From every man whose heart moves him, you shall receive the contribution for me. And this is the contribution that you shall receive from them: gold, silver, and bronze, blue and purple and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen, goat's hair, tanned ram's skin, goat skin, acacia wood, oil for the lamps, spices for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense, onyx stones, and stones for setting, for the ephod, and for the breastpiece. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell in their midst, exactly as I show you concerning the pattern of the tabernacle and of all its furniture, so you shall make it. The ark of the covenant. They shall make an ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be its length. A cubit and a half is breadth, and a cubit and a half is its height. You shall overlay it with pure gold. Inside and outside shall you overlay it, and you shall make on it a molding of gold around it. You shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them on its 4 feet. 2 rings on one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. You shall make poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. And you shall put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, to carry the ark by them. The poles shall remain in the rings of the ark. They shall not be taken from it. And you shall put into the ark the testimony that I shall give you. You shall make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be its length, and a cubit and a half its breadth. And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold. Of hammered work shall you make them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub on one end, and 1 cherub on the other end. Of one piece with the mercy seat shall you make the cherubim on its two ends. The cherubim shall spread out their wings above, overshadowing the mercy seat with their wings. Their faces one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubim be. And you shall put the mercy seat on the top of the ark. And in the ark you shall put the testimony that I shall give you. There I will meet with you, and from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim that are on the ark of the testimony, I will speak with you about all that I will give you in commandment for the people of Israel. The table for bread. You shall make a table of acacia wood. 2 cubits shall be its length, a cubit its breadth, and a cubit and a half its height. You shall overlay it with pure gold, and make a molding of gold around it. And you shall make a rim around it, a hand breadth wide, and a molding of gold around the rim. And you shall make for it 4 rings of gold, and fasten the rings to the 4 corners at its 4 legs. Close to the frame the rings shall lie, as holders for the poles to carry the table. You shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. And the table shall be carried with these. And you shall make its plates and dishes for incense, and its flagons and bowls with which to pour drink offerings. You shall make them of pure gold. And you shall set the bread on the presence of the table before me regularly. The golden lampstand. You shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand shall be made of hammered work. Its base, its stem, its cups, its calyxes, and its flowers shall be of one piece with it. And there shall be 6 branches going out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side of it, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side of it. 3 cups made like almond blossoms, each with calyx and flower on one branch, and 3 cups made with almond blossoms, each with calyx and flower on the other branch. So for the 6 branches going out of the lampstand. And on the lampstand itself there shall be 4 cups made like almond blossoms, and with their calyxes, with their calyxes and flowers, and a calyx of one piece with it under each pair of the 6 branches going out from the lampstand. Their calyxes and their branches shall be put of one piece with it, the whole of it a single piece of hammered work of pure gold. You shall make 7 lamps for it, and the lamps shall be set up so as to give light on the space in front of it. Its tongues and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be made with all these utensils out of a talent of pure gold. And see that you make them after the pattern for them, which is being shown to you on the mountain. Exodus chapter 26, the tabernacle. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet yarns. You shall make them with cherubim, skillfully worked into them. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall be the same size. 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another, and the other 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another. And you shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outermost curtain in the first set. Likewise, you shall make loops on the edge of the outermost curtain in the second set. 50 loops you shall make on the one curtain, and 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite one another. And you shall make 50 clasps of gold, and couple the curtains one to the other with the clasps, so that the tabernacle may be a single whole. You shall also make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains shall you make. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall be the same size. You shall couple 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And the 6th curtain you shall double over at the front of the tent. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the second set. You shall make 50 clasps of bronze, and put the clasps into the loops, and couple the tent together that it may be a single whole. And the part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. And the extra that remains in the length of the curtains, the cubit on the one side and the cubit on the other side, shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and that side to cover it. And you shall make for the tent a covering of tanned ram's skin, and a covering of goat skin on top. You shall make upright frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood. 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each frame. There shall be 2 tenons in each frame for fitting together. So shall you do for all the frames of the tabernacle. You shall make the frames for the tabernacle 20 frames for the south side, and 40 bases of silver you shall make under the 20 frames. 2 bases under one frame for its 2 tenons, and 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 tenons. And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, 20 frames and their 40 bases of silver. 2 bases under one frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the rear of the tabernacle westward, you shall make 6 frames. And you shall make 2 frames for corners of the tabernacle in the rear. They shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first ring. Thus shall it be with both of them. They shall form the 2 corners. And there shall be 8 frames with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under one frame, and 2 bases under another frame. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the side of the tabernacle at the rear westward. The middle bar halfway up the frame shall run from end to end. You shall overlay the frames with gold, and shall make their rings of gold for holders for the bars. And you shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan for it that you were shown on the mountain. And you shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked into it. And you shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, with hooks of gold, on 4 bases of silver. And you shall hang the veil from the clasps, and bring the ark of the testimony in there within the veil. And the veil shall separate and the veil shall separate for you the holy place from the most holy. You shall put the mercy seat on the ark of the testimony in the most holy place, and you shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand on the south side of the tabernacle, opposite the table, and you shall put the table on the north side. You shall make a screen for the entrance of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen, embroidered with needlework. And you shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia and overlay them with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold, and you shall cast 5 bases of bronze for them. All right, so that was Exodus chapters 25 and 26, and we're now going to do the Bible study for Exodus chapters 25 and 26. Exodus chapter 25 Bible study. How large was the Ark of the Covenant? The ark was 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. With what was the Ark of the Covenant made? The ark was made of acacia wood overlaid in pure gold. How was it to be carried? The ark was carried by 2 poles slid into rings on the sides. Which way did the cherubim face? The cherubim faced each other. What did they look toward? They looked toward the mercy seat. What was placed inside the ark? The testimony that God was giving to Moses concerning the law. Where would God meet with Moses? God would speak with Moses from between, God would speak with Moses from between the 2 cherubim above the mercy seat. What was to be placed on the table? The showbread was placed on the table. Of what was the table made? The table was made of acacia wood overlaid with gold. How was it carried? The table was carried by poles on the sides. Of what was the lampstand made? Should have brought water down here. Okay. Of what was the lampstand made? The lampstand was made of pure gold, hammered into one piece. How many branches were on the lampstand? 6 branches were on the lampstand, 3 on each side. How many bowls were on each branch? 3 bowls were on each side, 1 on each branch. What was the shape of the bowls? The bowls were almond blossom shaped. How many bowls were on the lampstand? 4 bowls were on the lampstand itself. What was the shape of the bowls? The bowls were also almond blossom shaped. How were the bowls placed on the lampstand? 1 bowl was under each set of 2 branches. How many lamps stood in front of the gold lampstand? 7 lamps stood in front of the golden lampstand. Okay, so that was the Bible study for Exodus chapters 25. And now we're going to do the Bible study for Exodus chapter 26. Exodus chapter 26 Bible study. The lighting is like terrible down here. Next time I come down here, when I have to come down here, I'm gonna like bring an extra light. Actually, there is a lamp over here, so I'll plug it up next time. Okay, Exodus chapter 26, Bible study. What were the cubit dimensions of the tabernacle? The tabernacle only was approximately 12 cubits wide and 30 cubits long. What went between the ark of the testimony and the most holy place? A veil separated the ark and the most holy place. Where was the table and the gold lampstand placed? The lampstand and table were placed outside the veil, across from each other. All right, so that was the Bible study for Exodus chapter 26. So we're now going to go on over to the New Testament, and we're going to read Matthew chapter 21, verse 1 through 22. And then tomorrow we'll finish up Matthew chapter 21 by reading verse 23 through 46. And I'm following, we're going to do the Bible study today for Matthew 21, verse 1 through 22, which I think it's maybe like just 3 questions. I forgot. And yeah, and I'm just following the reading schedule, Bible reading schedule, the Bible reading schedule from esv.org. They split it up this way because there's more chapters. There's more books of the Bible in the Old Testament than there is in the New Testament. So, all right. Still Exodus. I'm like, wait, what? Okay. Matthew chapter 21. The triumphal entry. Matthew chapter 21. Now, when they drew near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village in front of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them at once." This took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet, saying, "Say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a beast of burden." The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put on them their cloaks, and he sat on them. Most of the crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. And the crowds that went before him and that followed him were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest!" And when he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred up, saying, "Who is this?" And the crowd said, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth of Galilee." Jesus cleanses the temple. And Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who sold and bought. Okay, let me read that part over. Jesus cleanses the temple. And Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who sold and bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. He said to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer,' but you make it a den of robbers." And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying out in the temple, Hosanna to the Son of David. They were indignant, and they said to him, Do you hear what these are saying? And Jesus said to them, Yes, have you never read? Out of the mouth of infants and nursing babies, you have prepared praise. And leaving them, he went out of the city to Bethany and lodged there. Jesus curses the fig tree. In the morning, as he was returning to the city, he became hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it, but only leaves. And he said to it, May no fruit ever come from you again. And the fig tree withered at once. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How did the fig tree wither at once? And Jesus answered them, Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, Be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Oh, that's beautiful. So that was Matthew chapter 21, verse 1 through 22, and we're now going to do the Bible study for Matthew 21, verse 1 through 22, and tomorrow we will finish up Matthew 21 by reading verse 23 through 46, and I'm splitting it up like this because I'm just following the Your Bible schedule on esv.org. This is how they have it split. And I started, if you wanted to look on there, I started at January 1st instead of starting at April's schedule, because I wanted to start at the beginning of the Old Testament and the beginning of the New Testament instead of starting in the middle of the Bible. So I started at January 1st on their schedule on esv.org. So today's day 31. So according to their schedule, we're on January 31st. All right. So Matthew chapter 21, verse 1 through 22 Bible study, because that's what we just read. It's only 3 questions. What did Jesus ride on going into Jerusalem? Jesus rode on a colt, the foal of a donkey, when he came into Jerusalem. Why did Jesus clean out the temple? The people were selling in the temple to make a profit. The temple was to be a place of sincere worship of God, not a place to do business. What lesson was shown by the fig tree that withered? God expects us to produce fruit, not just profess our faith. Faith without works is dead. We show our faith by our works. God doesn't want a people who are all leaves and no fruit. All right, so that was the Bible study for Matthew chapter 21, verse 1 through 22. And again, we'll finish it up tomorrow by reading Matthew 21, verse 23 through 46, and we'll do the Bible study for that. So a recap of what we did today, we read Exodus chapters 25 and 26, and we did the Bible study for Exodus chapter 25 and 26, and we went on over to the New Testament and read Matthew 21, verse 1 through 22, and we did the Bible study for Matthew 21, verse 1 through 22, and we'll finish Matthew 21 up tomorrow and do the Bible study for verse 23 through 46. All right, champions of Jesus Christ, we are finished with day 31. I love you. God loves you. You matter. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are enough. And I love you. And don't hold on to baggage. I said I was gonna like do a live about that yesterday. My husband and I went to church. We got to physically go to church, like go inside instead of just watching it like live like we do on Sundays. But we got to actually physically go, and we do we do a date night. Well, we do a date day. Once a month, we make sure we get that in, and we have someone to babysit our children. So yesterday, getting out without the babies yesterday, we used that as this month's date day, which was totally needed. We totally needed to go to church. But my husband got baptized yesterday. So that was like a beautiful thing. Like, I'm so excited for his journey. I'm so excited for his future and his walk with Christ. Like, he's doing amazing. And he's been baptized before in the past, but he was a child. So he decided, he wanted to get baptized now as an adult, like a decision on his own. And yeah, so it was just so beautiful. It was like an emotional service, and it was just amazing. But so yes, but the pastor, he was speaking about baggage yesterday, and I just wanted to I'm gonna like do a separate live one day this week, or like just do a video or something, just like reading the notes that I took in church about that. But it was great. So basically, it was just saying like lay all your baggage at Jesus's feet, and just give it all to him. And your baggage is like your grief, your pain, any suffering, sins, like it's all baggage, things you worry about and stuff like that. And we start with like carrying our baggage as soon as we open up our eyes every morning. So, and it's like we just start thinking, worrying about something or this or that. It's just something like it starts as soon as you open your eyes. And it's like they showed like a video of like a guy. He was like sleeping with the suitcase of then he like went to work with the suitcase. He was back at home watching TV with the suitcase, walking the dog with the suitcase, stuff like that. And it's just like we take our baggage everywhere. So it was just saying like let it go, lay it at God's feet. He did not die on the cross. Jesus did not die on the cross for us to not have freedom. He didn't die on the cross for us to be like depressed and just blah all day. So he was just saying like just let it go, give it all to God, and let that baggage go, and don't go and pick it back up. So yes, let it go and just wake up, just just living, like live. So anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna talk about that another day, but it was so good. So yes, but it's like we tend to forget, like we tend to forget why Jesus died on the cross for us, like, and or sometimes, we just need to remember. So it's like we know this stuff already, but then we forget. So we need to remember, but we need to just make an effort to every morning as soon as we open our eyes to remember to like live and not hold on to that baggage, but also other times throughout the day. So yes, so anyways, I love you, and yes, over 1 month, so coming up on 2 months soon. So 31 days, but 2 months is right around the corner. So yes, I'm proud of us. So I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.